and welcome to the Arctic Circle. We are here to look at the closest star to our Earth, our Sun.
June is the month of the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere. That means, from this point in north, the sun never sets. 24 hours of daylight.
They call it the midnight sun because at midnight the sun is still up. This year, that day is June 21st. It'll also be the first day of summer. Woohoo!
The solstice, along with the equinoxes, are all caused by the tilt of the Earth. Make sure to watch the Let's Explore Astronomy Raijo episode that explains all about the Earth's tilt and how it all works. You can find the episode on our website.
Of course, if you live in the southern hemisphere, things are just the opposite. It is the first day of winter for you, and at the Antarctic Circle, the sun never comes up June 21st. 24 hours of darkness. For you guys down under, you have to wait until December for your 24 hours of daylight in summer.
Since we are talking about the poles, how about if this month we tell everyone about some of the things they can find in the polar regions?
Okay!
Almost directly above the North Pole lays the star Polaris. We call it the North Star. Because the Earth rotates, it appears that all of the stars rotate around Polaris. In the northern hemisphere, Polaris is seen all year round, and since it is above the North Pole, when you're looking at it, you're always looking north. It acts as a natural compass, and for centuries people have used it to find their way around. We put together a great Let's Explore Astronomy time-slip episode where Velocity and I pretend we are early mariners learning how to follow the stars for navigation. Make sure to check it out on our website. Polaris is the last star in the handle of the Little Dipper, the constellation Ursa Minor. The easiest way to find Polaris is actually by finding the Big Dipper. The Big Dipper rotates around Polaris and can also be seen all year in most parts of the northern hemisphere. The Big Dipper is probably the most recognizable thing in the night sky. To find Polaris using the Big Dipper, simply follow the two stars in the bowl of the Dipper. They point straight to Polaris. Polaris is not just a single star, but a multi-star system made up of 5 stars. Polaris A is the brightest, with a magnitude of under 2. Polaris AB and Polaris B are smaller stars close to Polaris A, and you can actually make out Polaris B in your telescope. And farther out, you find Polaris C and Polaris D. About 5 degrees from Polaris, you will find NGC 188, one of the oldest open clusters known. It is believed to be about 6 billion years old.
The Big Dipper is only the part of the constellation Ursa Major. Ursa Major is the Big Bear. Because the Big Dipper is so easy to see, there are many stories about it in ancient times. The Greeks had several stories about it. The most famous is that Ursa Major is Callisto. Callisto was a beautiful girl, and Zeus fell in love with her. Ooh la la. They had a son named Arcus. This really made Hera mad, so she turned Callisto into a bear. One day, Arcus was out hunting when he came across Callisto, but he did not know it was his mother. Just before Arcus threw his spear at Callisto, Zeus saved the day, grabbing the both of them and putting them in the night sky as Ursa Major and Ursa Minor. The Hindus say that Ursa Major is the 7 sages. Some Native American stories say the bowl of the Big Dipper is a bear and that the 3 stars in the handle are warriors chasing it. The Romans say that Ursa Major is a wagon being pulled by an oxen. The Chinese say it is the Emperor's chariot. Do-do-do. These are just a few of the many stories associated with what we call today the 2 Dippers.
Probably the most popular object to find in Ursa Major is M81. M81 is easy to find in any scope. It is a large spiral galaxy, about 11.8 million light-years from Earth. M81 is a lot like our Milky Way galaxy, so by looking at M81, it is a lot like you would see if you could travel outside the Milky Way and look back. Only a half degree away from M81 lies M82, another spiral galaxy. M82 is known as the Cigar Galaxy because it is long and narrow. It is believed that the elongated shape is due to M81's gravity tugging at it. Stars forming in M82 are doing so at a rate 10 times faster than they do in the Milky Way. M101 is the Pinwheel Galaxy. We see it face on. It is 170,000 light-years across, making it 70% larger than the Milky Way. 5 companion galaxies orbit around it. 2 more galaxies of around 10 magnitude can be found here, M108 and M109. Another Messier object found in Ursa Major is the Owl Nebula, M97. It is a bright planetary nebula whose shape resembles an owl's head. It was formed by an exploding star about 6,000 years ago. Now, let's take a look at the southern hemisphere. There is no southern star like the northern star, so all the stars seem to rotate around a point of empty sky. This point above the South Pole is known as the South Celestial Pole. The easy way to find the South Celestial Pole is to follow 2 stars that are used as pointer stars, just like the Big Dipper stars in the northern hemisphere. Simply find the constellation Crux, also known as the Southern Cross, and follow the stars south.
Like Ursa Major in the north, Crux also has many stories related to it from different cultures. European explorers associate with the Cross of Christ. The Aboriginal cultures in Australia said it was the head of an emu. Other Aboriginal stories say it was Marabuka. Marabuka is a spirit ancestor who watches down from the heavens to watch over the tribes of southeastern Australia. In New Zealand, they say it is an anchor. In Tonga, they say it is a duck flying south with one of the arms hurt after hunters threw stones at it. The Incas in Peru said it was the chacana. The chacana is a famous symbol with 4 corners that each have 3 steps. There is a hole at the center that symbolizes the capital, Cusco. Each of the 4 points is a mythical meaning to the Incas. The constellation Crux was very important to the Incas and represented the chacana in the sky. And there are many more stories. Today, both flags of Australia and New Zealand bear the Southern Cross. Between Crux and the South Celestial Pole, you will find the constellation Musca, the fly, chameleon, the lizard, and octans, the octans, which is a navigational instrument. All of these were named by early explorers and have no instruments associated with them.
One of the most prominent objects in Crux is the Coal Stack Nebula. It is visible with the naked eye. It lays only 600 light-years away from Earth. It appears as a dark patch in the Milky Way. It is a cloud of dust that obscures the light of the stars behind it. NGC 4755 is the Jewel Box, or Kappa Cruxix Cluster. Say that 10 times fast. It is an open star cluster. You can see it with the naked eye, and it appears as a large star, but with binoculars or a scope, you can make out the cluster. About half of the stars in the cluster are red, blue, yellow, and white supergiants. They are very young stars, at only about 14 million years old. There are several objects to see in the constellation Musca. Go back and watch our April 2015 Skywatch episode for more detailed information on what you can find there. In the constellation Chameleon, you can find the magnitude 11 nebula NGC 3195. It is the southernmost bright nebula known. Now, let's see where the planets are this month. Mercury will not be visible this month.
Venus will be visible right after sunset, moving through Cancer.
Mars will not be visible this month.
Jupiter will be visible right after sunset in Cancer. By the end of the month, Jupiter and Venus will appear just 0.3 of a degree from each other. Awesome!
Saturn is in Scorpio and visible all night long.
Uranus is in Pisces and visible in the morning hours just before sunrise.
Neptune is in Aquarius and visible from around midnight to sunrise.
And since the spacecraft New Horizons will be flying by Pluto next month, we thought you might like to know where Pluto is. Pluto can be found in the constellation Sagittarius, which is visible most of the night.
Full moon is June 3rd, and new moon is June 16th.
You know, there's one star very close to us and fun to observe. Our sun! It's constantly changing with sunspots appearing from time to time. The other day we saw a cool solar flare. Just make sure you get yourself an approved solar filter for your scope. Never look at the sun without a very good solar filter.
I got the solar filter on. Let's see what activity is going on the sun.
Cool, I mean hot. 'Cause the sun is hot. Get it? Everyone's a critic. Until next time, happy stargazing!
Check out our other episodes in the Let's Explore Astronomy series at www.tedcookproductions.com/LEA.
You will find all kinds of cool astronomy topics there.